What's going on, Blues? Welcome back to Life as an Evertonian. This is our pre-match preview of the game against Arsenal. Saturday night, a minging time kickoff on a Saturday night at 8 o'clock at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. There's a lot to unpack in this video. Um, Obviously, let's start off with Njai and Idrissa Gana Gueye have gone off to the AFCON. We are waiting with the news of Keenan Dewsbury Hall. Not heard anything yet. How long this lad's going to be out for? Um, Obviously it was a pulled hamstring against Chelsea away. Really knocked the wind out of our sails. In the midfield, I thought Everton played well in patches, but there were periods of that game where Everton weren't tracking the men, and it resulted to two of the goals down uh, the right hand side. Personally, I think Idrissa Gana Gueye was guilty of that, especially once for the first goal. He just seemed to come into the game a little bit rusty, a little bit. I've not been playing for a couple of weeks, missing the 3 games through suspension, and was his mind on the AFCON. So NJ, Keenan Dewsbury Hall, Idrissa Gana Gueye. Those two lads have gone now for the next 6 to 7 games, depending how far Senegal go in the tournament. We Are we going to see Tyler Diblin? We've seen little cameos here and there. Is this lad destined to get his chance now? I'm sure he has to, or else, yes, I understand he's a signing for the future, but that £42 million that we've spent, could it have been spent elsewhere? I mean, listen, I am going to talk about transfers in this video because we are building up to the transfer window. I think Everton needs to get Jack Grealish done in this window, personally. I just think we need to get it done. Because I think if Jack signs on a permanent deal over 3 years, something like that, if it's a 30, 40, probably £30 million deal, I think the fees that we heard around 50 million, it's not going to happen. But Everton could get a deal done for Jack, and Jack gets the deal done and wants to be at Everton. I think that could build momentum for, better players coming to our club. I do believe the signing of Keenan Dewsbury Hall was like the first injection of that. And I think Jack's probably gone, Keenan's gone there. And that's how it follows. It follows suit. This week we've been linked with a lot of players, British players, English players, Conor Gallagher, who would vastly, again, the type of player he is, would improve Everton. He could play as a 10, he can play as an 8, plays anywhere in that midfield. And I think, if you look at it, Blues, if we had the likes of Conor Gallagher as a 10, Kieran Dewsbury all a bit deeper, Jimmy Gardner, it's a good midfield. And this is the level of players Everton need to be looking at. Per se, I'd love, with Idrissa going, and obviously we know Kobe Mainoo is not happy at United. I think he wants to move away. And I think, if Everton could get a deal done there with, a loan, I think it would be a really good deal to get done. So there has been a lot of rumours this week, with players. And obviously when it's the rumour mill, I do come on here every now and then and talk about rumours. But I do like credible source, and I still think we're a couple of weeks away from that. But Everton have got to be looking in these areas. But for me, I just feel if Everton could get Jack done, I think it lifts everyone. Even though he's on loan till end of the season. But if that deal could get done, I just think momentum could build for Everton in the market as a whole in that January. People will look, yeah, Jack signed for Everton on a 3-year deal. But we've got still the issues in fullback areas. That's going to be the case until we bring them in. But it will be Mikalenko at left back, Jake O'Brien at right back. You've got your centre halves. We've heard that Jared Branthwaite is back on the grass with Merlin Roll as well, which it's much needed. Both of those in at this stage are much needed now. So, Moyes has got big decisions to make on that right hand side. I'd love to see Tyler thrown in. For me, if I saw Dwight McNeil there on the right hand side, I wouldn't be happy with that. But then you could have. It's all about, to be honest, it's all about Keenan Dewsbury Hall. I don't think he's going to be ready for this game, possibly the Burnley. But again, we don't know the extent. We're only going to find this out when David Moyes has his presser tomorrow. So there's big decisions to make. Obviously Jack on the left, Jimmy Gardner centre mid. You've got Timmy Raburam knocking at the door when he first came in through Idrissa Gana Gueye suspension. He had a poor game, against Newcastle, and then he came into his own. Obviously, he picked up that booking, and then got suspended. So, Tim can do a job. He's a different player than Idrissa. He really is. So Moyes has got a lot food for thought to think of what is going to be the best way of Everton getting a result against Arsenal, because we need a result against a top four side. Obviously, Arsenal are pecking away to win the title this season. And we usually do all right against Arsenal at home. But obviously now we're in the Hill Dickinson and we need a good result. We need a big result. Tieno Barry, I'm sure, will start. Everton, obviously linked with strikers. For me, if we could get a striker, a 10 and a right back, we'd have a really good window. If we could bring in two full backs, we'd have a really, really good window. Might have to wait until the next window to bring in at least two. But let's hope we can bring one in. It's going to be a tough game. Every single game is, but maybe Tyler Diblin, if he doesn't get this start, he will against Burnley. Like a lower kind of team to integrate him in. I've mentioned in previous content, I feel Everton should bring Harrison Armstrong back. I guess it's all going to be on the injury to Keenan Dewsbury Hall. I really do. So, Blues, let me know your thoughts. This is, let's try and get a result. We need to try and get a result. We need to be hard to break down. Tarky at the back, Michael Keane. I can't see anything any different. I think Jared's going to need to play for the under 23s, under 21s, or he needs some game time before he comes into the first team. I think he needs to feel how he's going to feel, taking it easy. Obviously hamstring injuries, especially when they're big, they can cause havoc for a lot of time. And I think when Tarkowski came back from his hamstring injury, I don't think he weren't the same player for a while. Come in and did a job, but I think he showed his vulnerability as well. You could tell. I think it were on his mind. And it's going to be. I did the hamstring in not so long ago, running along Lytham St Anne's beach, messing around racing with my wife and my kid Jude, and my hamstring went, and it was one of those that it went for a couple of weeks. But when I first got back into the gym, I could feel it, and I was scared to lift anything significant. And I still think about it now, because that feeling when it goes, it's bad. So it's good to know them lads are on the grass, especially, losing the two that we have. And obviously, Keenan Dewsbury Hall, who we expect that he's going to be missing. Um, we hope short term. But, we might be pleasantly surprised. It might have been, a a cautious decision that Everton made by bringing him off. But, that lad wouldn't wanted to come off against Chelsea. So it still is a massive cause for concern. But yeah, Blues, I'm going to leave this one there. I'm looking forward to the game. Again, just the time, Saturday night, 8 o'clock. It's going to be a nightmare getting out, and it's going to be a really late getting back. It just kills you your Saturday evening. Listen, I love going to watch Everton. Don't get me wrong, I do, but you can't beat Saturday at 3 o'clock. Do you know what I mean? You can't. So, but it is what it is. It's Sky, and it's the way it goes. So, Blues, up the toffees, and I will see you in the next one.